There we go. All right. Hey, so we are live. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Sip Wrestling Podcast. As you can see, it's just me and our buddy Silas Allred here from the University of Nebraska. No Tyler right now. Tyler may or may not be joining us right now. He is at a soccer game with his son. So really right now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of like hang out. Silas and I are going to shoot the shit a little bit and until some people join in, and really we're gonna get after it. So how's your day, man?
Oh man, living the dream. We're in the prep phase right now for Big Ten. So as the season goes on, obviously
Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, there we go. We lost you for a quick second.
Sorry. If there's any more issues, just let me know. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so you guys, I mean, I imagine that you guys are busy. You guys are prepping for Big Tens right now.
Yeah. So it's actually kind of unique, the like old school philosophy, especially like in high school and stuff, before you start getting into postseason stuff, prepping for state, all that. Usually intensity like ramps up. It starts getting harder. You're like, oh, this is it. We gotta get after it. But at the Division I level, and I think kind of in sports in general, just with like the further advancements of like getting educated on training and the body and stuff like that, are really kind of tapering down. So still having practice, still getting after it, but not as much live, like trying to keep the body feeling good and all that stuff. So this is the really fun time of year. It's like this is what we've been training for all season. Practice is getting a little more fun. We're not beating each other up as much, and we're really just locking into these next few weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm writing some notes down. Yeah, so I mean, like you guys wrestle like a grind of a schedule. I mean, I don't think there's a single Big Ten team that's really just like has a cupcake schedule. So like, I mean, what's that like? I mean, that's a bear. I mean, just like week after week, you're probably wrestling a ranked guy, just ready to get after it. What's your preparation like at that moment?
Yeah, it's always be ready. For us, especially at the Big Ten level. Obviously we have kind of two seasons. We have our conference season, which starts at the beginning of January, and then we have the non-conference season, which starts from kind of the beginning of November through all December. So really 2 months and about 3 months ish, if you consider conference through nationals and stuff. So it's about a 5 month total season, and it's just, I mean, really, it just takes a lot of focus. We talk about the sport and how physical it is, but really, like, it takes an elite level of mental focus and just locking into it. Yeah, it's a grind. It's a super long season, but it's super rewarding. It's super fun. I love the aspect of the sport to where it's really a tough man sport. It's not easy. It's hard. Discipline in every area of your life. Some guys, they go to practice for 2 hours, they leave, they study film for an hour, and that's it. That's what their day is like. Maybe throw in weight training, but for us, we got 2 a day workouts, and then our whole day revolves around being disciplined with our food and our water intake. Just stuff like that people don't think about. So our lives revolve around the sport of wrestling for at least 5 months. But then we got our preseason, we got our off-season work and stuff. So really, I mean, this is a lifestyle.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I can't relate. Just, big wrestling fan. Never wrestled in college. I wish my co-host was here. He wrestled for a little bit at UT Chat. But so you talked about like the mental focus aspect. So what's the big lock-in that you have, or what's the biggest difference that you deal? I mean, our group that we resonate with is really high school kids. Mm-hmm. So what is the biggest difference, like mental focus wise, from high school or college that you've recognized?
Really, it's been, you got to fall in love with the fact that it's hard. I think a lot when you're young, and even still at this level, I think just as people, we try to make things easy. We look for shortcuts. We try to make it convenient. I mean, everything in our life now is about convenience. The fact that we got phones so we can do everything, from the fact that they invented a TV remote so you don't have to freaking get up and go change channels. Like, think about that. Walking 10 feet, no one wanted to do it, so they made a remote for the TV. It's like everything in this life is about convenience. And then when you try to incorporate that into wrestling, it's just if you want to be elite, it doesn't happen. Like, you have to just embrace the fact that you chose something that's really freaking hard, that requires a lot of effort. It's a grind, And once you accept that idea and you kind of learn to start embracing it, almost fall in love with it. Sounds crazy, but if you can convince yourself that it's awesome, go in the room, getting beat up, practice is sucking. You're like, man, this is freaking great. I love this. I'm glad I get to do this. This is awesome. I'm in a freaking elite room with guys who push me every single day, who challenge me, who make me get better. I mean, I'm so lucky. My coaches want to see me succeed. They're always rooting for me. My teammates want me to succeed. They're always rooting for me. I got freaking 30 guys around me who just want me to do good and succeed. Like, this is special. This is awesome. Like, if you can buy into those things and fall in love with that part of the sport, it makes it so much easier and so much more manageable. But if you start looking for shortcuts, well, I can eat whatever I want today and tomorrow I just won't eat anything. Well, I can drink a lot of water today and tomorrow I won't have as much water. Like, if you start doing stuff like that, and like I said, just looking for the easy way out, it's going to be miserable. It's going to suck. You just gotta embrace the part of the sport that's tough and that's hard.
Yeah, I love that. And so, I'm a traditionalist. I'm older. I'm 31. So I've always been the guy that's like, wrestlers are always the guy that kind of just they embrace the grind. They suffer in silence. Not a whole lot. Like, everything happens really behind closed doors. And then so now with social media really blowing up, and then you have the guys like Bo Bassett that have really embraced the social media aspect of it. And all of that stuff is on display. Like, how do you feel about that?
No, I think that it's great, especially from the NIL stuff. If that's something that you desire and that you really, really want to pursue, then do it. Market yourself, make yourself attractive to coaches. Put out there the work you're doing. Because to a certain extent, coaches do like seeing that stuff, but at the same time, you got to be ready for the pressure you're putting on yourself too, because it's a double-edged sword, right? It's like Bo Bassett, tons of recognition. He's got a great following. He's opened doors for a ton of NIL opportunities for himself to where he can make some money. But also, if that dude ever makes a mistake, if that dude ever messes up, if he ever underperforms, whatever, he is going to get blasted. It's going to be completely public. So it's like, if you're willing to accept that and take that on, and you're willing to have to deal with that extra adversity on top of the adversity you are going to deal with through wrestling, because it's a tough sport, and through a grueling season, if you can manage both of those, then go for it. But I think for a lot of wrestlers, and just a lot of athletes in general, those things, the opinion of the world, the influence of the people around you, social media, all that stuff, it can just become a distraction. So like I said, if you can balance it and it works for you, great, utilize it. It's a great tool, especially with NIL. But there's always got to be that prioritizing that goes on, where it's yeah, social media is great and making money through NIL is great, but also my goal is to be a national champion, be the best in the world, get my hand raised in the biggest moments. And you got to focus on those things a little bit more and make sure you're keeping your priorities in line.
That's right. And we're kind of seeing that unfold live right now with the whole Anthony Knox situation. I don't know if you're following any of that from
100%.
New Jersey. That is a dude that's he's kind of made out to be a villain on social media, got into a altercation or whatever last week, and it went really south. And then just today, 30 minutes before they were supposed to weigh in, went really north again. So, I agree 100% with you. That's one of those things that with social media and just being a public figure, like you guys are, on a really small or on a smaller scale, I think that's tough, and you have to be ready to embrace that, and you have to know that there's a trigger or you're always in somebody's crosshairs.
Mm-hmm.
everybody's always trying to knock down the top dog. So it just kind of depends on, like, are you giving them the opportunities to do it, or are you making them work to find them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I want to talk a little bit about, so you're from Anderson, Indiana, right? Two-time Indiana state champion.
Yep.
Indiana is very similar to what Mississippi is, and where we have an all-class state championship. How was that? Like, so capping it off, I'm assuming it was your junior and senior year that you won a state title?
Yeah.
So how was that for you? Like, I mean, how was that? And then how did that play into your, like, recruitment?
Yeah. So I loved it. I think it's how it should be. Wrestling's an individual sport. I don't think that individual sports should be classed. I understand it from the aspect of, the smaller schools, we want to get people to state, we want state champions, so on and so forth. But like I said, wrestling's so individual based. Like, I grinded my butt off every offseason. I was in a club in Indianapolis, which is, obviously the capital of Indiana, only about 45 minutes from me. So I would drive there 3 days a week in the off season, and I'd get practices in with a lot of the other best guys in the state, and just took ownership of my development. And I think that's a huge part of it. And yeah, so I love the fact that it's one class. It makes it hard. Like, I would be so mad if I was a state champion, say at 195 pounds, whatever, where I won, and there was 3 other guys who got to say the same thing as me. Like, that just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like it. It's an individual sport. Like, I want to know who is the best at my weight in the state. I don't want to share it with 3 or 4 other people, So I love the fact that it's single class. It definitely makes it tougher. And Indiana is very cutthroat in regards to our state process and our state series. We don't have wrestlebacks anywhere besides sectional. So with the way Indiana set up, we have sectional, regional, semi-state, then state. So we have kind of 4 postseason events that occur. And at sectionals, top 4 move on to regionals. Regionals, it's an 8-man bracket, and you have to win your first match. If you lose, you are done. Win your first match, make the semis, then you make it to semi-state. Again, top 4. At semi-state, it's a 16-man bracket, and you have to win your first 2. If you lose one of your first 2 matches, season's done. Win your first 2, you make top 4, you move on to state, and then state is a 2-day event, 16-man brackets. Friday night, you have to win your match. If you lose Friday night, season's done. You're not a state placer. If you win Friday night, make it to the round of 8 or quarterfinals, boom, you're a state placer, mission accomplished. So we don't do a lot of wrestleback stuff. So, like, every match is super high intensity. It makes for a really cool atmosphere, especially at semi-state and state. Second round of semi-state, everywhere you're at, place is bumping. It's like, this is the ticket round. If I win this, I'm a state qualifier, dope. And then Friday night at state, it's like, oh man, we got to let's win this match Friday night. Let's get on the podium. Let's do this thing. So it's a cool atmosphere, cool environment, but it's not very forgiving for the wrestler. If you go out there with the yips your first match or your second match, forget about it. In regards to recruiting, it definitely plays a part in it. But for me, the biggest thing was off-season stuff, getting my name out there nationally. Because, Indiana, we've had some good wrestlers for sure. You got Mason Parris, you got Nick Lee, you got Chad Ray Jr., you got the Surtis brothers. Like, there's been a lot of good wrestlers who have made their way through Indiana. But beyond that, it's really the recognition that those guys got wasn't from winning state titles. It was from national exposure, going to big events like Fargo, like Super 32, USA Nationals, whatever, like going out and beating the other top competition in the country. And I think that's what coaches look for. And I think that's the commitment it takes. We talk about buy-in year round and getting extra training in, getting into a club, so on and so forth, but also seeking the best competition and proving that you're right there with them and you belong there. I think that's a huge part as well. And it goes even honestly beyond being successful. If you just show that you're seeking out the best competition, that you want to be great and you're pursuing these big tournaments, coaches recognize that too. So all of it, I got involved in the off-season stuff and the big tournaments when I was in 8th grade through a club I was wrestling with called the Indiana Outlaws, and then kept doing it up through high school and was honestly not great. In 8th grade, I was okay as a freshman. I did all right. Sophomore, I really started making gains, did pretty good. And then junior and senior year is when I really started making a lot of progress, ended up getting nationally ranked and was making some noise on the national level. But it's just, getting out there, just doing it, putting the work in.
Heck yeah. So let's talk about some like recruiting aspects. So, was it always Nebraska, or like what was like how many visits did you take? Where did you take your visits? Like all of that stuff.
Yeah. So I remember, man, I remember this vividly. It's still one of the things I look back on and I kind of like regret it a little bit. So my dad was a huge part of my recruiting process and me coming to college and all that stuff. As an eighth grader, my dad started sending my video out and record and stuff like that out to a bunch of college coaches. I mean, he did it to like every Division I coach in the country. It was ridiculous. Only 2 replied. One was Mark Manning from University of Nebraska. The other's name was Coach Lanham from Duke. Only 2 that replied to my dad's messages, and I don't blame them. I don't know why they replied. I don't blame their coaches for not replying. It's like I hadn't done anything. Like I was a middle school state champion as an 8th grader. That was it. I had no national accolades. I mean, it's just one of those things. So my dad started doing all this, and then like I said, I developed, make some noise, whatever, get my name out there. I believe as a sophomore, going into my junior year, I hit the national rankings at like 13 or 12 or something like that. And I guess I don't know what you'd call it, the day that college coaches can reach out to juniors. It was when I was in high school. It was when I was a junior. Now I think it's like sophomore year sometime. But either way, there was a day that occurred where coaches could reach out to me. My dad was pumped for it. I was pumped for it. And I ended up going with my buddies to his lake house because I wanted to go hang out because it was like 2 weekends before school started. And I really just, I wanted to go and do this. All my friends were doing it. So I left. And on that day, I got like 36 phone calls. And I remember like it was super cool. All my friends around me, they thought it was dope. But it ended up just taking away from the day because I was always like watching my phone. I didn't want to go out on the boat with the guys because, I was getting these phone calls. And I just remember like, man, it'd be so cool if my dad was here. Like, this would be sick. We'd be sitting around my phone, probably have a TV show on or whatever, and looking forward to every single phone call I was getting. So that's one that I wish I could take back. But yeah, so I got all these phone calls. It was great, talked to all these coaches and kind of just talking with my dad, narrowed it down to just a few schools that we really liked. I was talking a lot with Cornell. I was talking a lot with NC State, Nebraska. I was in contact with a few other Big Ten schools that had reached out, but none of them were offering me what Nebraska was offering me and what these other colleges were offering me. I was also talking to a few Ivy League schools like Harvard, and I was talking to like Stanford too. So I had a lot of schools that were recruiting me. And I remember taking a few unofficial visits just in-state to like IU and Purdue. And then when I went to Super 32 my junior year, I took an unofficial at Duke just because I built a relationship with Coach Lanham. He had came out to a few tournaments to see me. And then I took my first official visit to Nebraska. And I'd lined up my other ones, but this was my junior year. So it was really only a few months after I'd really gotten in contact and been talking with the staff and stuff. And I came out here and I just fell in love with it. It was just like it just felt right. It's so cliche, it really is. But you go somewhere and you just know. And I came out here and the coaching staff, the environment, the fact that obviously it's not Indiana, but I mean, the state's so similar just in regards to like the landscape and the people and stuff like that, very small town vibes, that it felt enough like home to where I wasn't worried about getting homesick, stuff like that. It was a 10-hour drive. And at the time my dad was sick. So I was like, if I got to get home, 10 hours isn't ridiculous to make the drive. So it just, everything about it in my mind just made sense. And I felt super comfortable with it. So took the visit afterwards, called all the other coaches and said, hey, sorry, I'm committing to Nebraska. I'm not going to be taking a visit with you, whatever. I canceled everything. They were not happy about it, but ended up committing shortly after. And man, it's been awesome.
So I mean, I gotta ask. So if it wasn't Nebraska, who is it going to be?
Honestly, I do not know. I mean, I never thought about it. never really. I mean, I didn't really consider a ton of the other options because I was so undecided before I came to Nebraska. I wasn't leaning towards anything. And then, I came to Nebraska and fell in love. I guess, I mean, I could say potentially Cornell, but Cornell kind of did me dirty where the coach, me and him were talking all the time, texting back and forth all the time. He'd freaking like send me cup pong on iMessage games. And we played cup pong like through the day while I was at school, whatever. Like we were talking all the time. And then all of a sudden I was ranked number 2 in the country at 195 pounds. And the kid ranked number 1 was a year older than me and he hadn't committed anywhere. And then all of a sudden I see that he commits to a Cornell and then the coach just ghosts me. They just stop talking to me.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, what? Are you like, at least give me like say, hey, Silas, we decided to go elsewhere with this, whatever. Best of luck in your stuff, and whatever. And they do this, right? And then a week and a half later, we wrestle at Super 32s, and I see the coach there and doesn't say a word to me. And me and this kid wrestled in the quarterfinals, and he had beaten me like 2 months before at this tournament called the Journeyman. He beat me like 10-2, and we wrestled again. And this dude's, oh my gosh, this match still drives me nuts. He ends up beating me 3-2, freaking squeaks it out, and man, I'm so ticked about it. But
who was it?
Yeah, Jacob Cardenas.
Okay.
Yep, Cardenas. He's at Michigan now, but he spent 4 years at Cornell. But yeah, so ended up freaking squeaking this out and beat me 3-2, and yeah, I was so mad about it because it was right in front of the coach, and I really just wanted to right in front of him, like, yeah, you picked him. I'm a year younger, and I just freaking whooped your boy. Say something. What? But no, I ended up losing. But yeah, coach didn't say a word to me. Didn't even look my way, and I was like, all right, yeah, you guys are jerks.
I mean, for you, it sounds like you made the right choice.
Oh, I mean, it's a perfect fit. I get all the comments now. It's like, I'm at Big Red. My last name's Allred. They have this chant that they do at every sporting event where they yell, "Go Big Red," and everyone screams it. And at the wrestling meets, they yell, "Go Allred," and the whole crowd screams, and it's the best. It's like, I mean, I don't know if I could have went anywhere else. Now it's like it just feels wrong.
I mean, your guys' coach he's got it going on. I mean, you've got Pinto and Minto back to back, and then you got Allred, Go Big Red, right? I mean, like he's figuring it out. He's playing a mental game there that nobody else is playing.
No, he's playing chess. Everyone else is playing checkers.
That's right. Hey, so two-time NCAA qualifier at 97. This year you're wrestling at 84. So what brought in the weight cut?
Yeah, so it's funny because everyone, when I first kind of had the idea, people like on the outside were like, is he like trying to get to an easier weight class, whatever? And it's like, no, it's not an easier weight class. I'm moving into 2 defending national champions.
Yeah, I would argue you made a bad decision there.
Yeah, the 1 and 2 guys pound for pound in the country. Like those are the 2 that I'm moving into. So it's like, no, I didn't move. I didn't choose the easier route. If anything, I chose a harder route. And really the reason for it is, I pride myself on working hard. I'm a grinder. I love it being scrappy. I try to be the hardest working guy in the room. And it came down to after last season not accomplishing my goals because freshman Big Ten champ, NCAA qualifier, lose in the blood rounds to the guy who ends up taking 4th or 3rd or something like that. And like that's obviously it's tough and it's bittersweet because I really wanted to be an All-American. I obviously I wanted to be a national champion, but it happens. So then the following year, it's like I got a tough route at Big Tens. A guy like Aaron Brooks, who's world class, a generational talent. He ends up beating me in Big Ten. I take 3rd there, so not a Big Ten champ. So there I lose that, and then repeating by losing in the blood round again. Like that, those things obviously sting and they frustrate me, and it makes me like go back and be honest. It's like you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish. Like what's the deal? And just an honest kind of heart to heart with myself. Really reflecting and looking back on the past 2 years, and it's like I'm not doing enough. It's like, it's just that simple. It's like, wrestling's one of those sports where you get what you put in. And at the same time, obviously there's this balance where you don't, in wrestling, you don't get what you deserve. You still have to go take it. You can be the hardest working guy. You can do everything right, but there's still another man towing that line who really wants to win. So you have to be prepared to go out and take that from him and take what you feel that you deserve. So it just, in my mind, I wasn't doing enough. So I bought in this offseason. I locked into a super clean diet, and my goal was I want to get as healthy as possible, and I want to do everything right. And in doing so, I started to really lean out, and I went from being, typically in the off season, in the years past, I would not care about anything, eat whatever I want, have 1 or 2 months to where I was just unfocused on diet and the other attainables. I still train and lift and wrestle and stuff like that, but the other stuff in regards to it, just didn't worry about it. And this year I was like, I'm gonna freaking buy in. So a typical offseason, I get up to 220, 225 pounds and be big boy, feeling great. This offseason was the opposite. I ended up getting down to like 198 pounds and being really lean and feeling really, really good. And it was like, I can make 184. And Pinto, I knew could make 74. He cut no weight to be an 84 pounder last year. So I'm like, this dude could cut 10 pounds and be a 74 pounder. And, he's so explosive and powerful at 84. Imagine how he's going to feel to guys at 74, because he shouldn't lose any strength. Like he doesn't cut weight. He lives at 84. So I mentioned the idea to my coaches, told them what I was doing. And they said, all right, if you can do it, then let's see. And yeah, bought in. And then the goal became not, being healthy and doing everything right, but it became, let's shrink the body a little bit and see how we feel. And I got down. I made 84 3 times this summer. And I was like, yeah, I can do it. And then during preseason, before we ever competed up to the mat, I ended up making it like another 4 times on back-to-back weekends. So 4 weekends in a row, I made it just to make sure that it was feasible and that I would still feel good and train well. And I did, and it became a thing. I was like, this is what we're doing, So yeah, it was really kind of a challenge to myself, where it was like, how can I push myself? Because I hadn't been sub 193 since I was 16 years old. Because I've always been young for my age. And so yeah, junior, senior year, I was 195. And, the lightest that I would get to, like I said, it was like 193. So I hadn't been beneath that number in 6 years. And then next thing you know, I'm a 184 pounder. So
yeah, that's crazy. And that's a big drop too. And especially wrestling at a high level. I mean, you were a high level guy in the conversation at 197. Then you drop down to 197 or 184. So how is that pull? Like, what's your walking around? Like, what are you walking around right now?
Well, right now I'm like 195, 196. But like it's still very, very easy for me to get big. Like over Christmas break, I tweaked my knee and was out for a little bit. I had bursitis, so busted bursa sac, knee swelled up, that whole thing. So I was out for a little bit, and was just like, I've been really, really locked in now for, because I started in May. I've been locked in for over 6 months. Like we're about to go back home for Christmas. I'm going to, hang out with family. I'm going to eat some food. I'm not going to really worry about it, stress about it, whatever. And I got up to like 210 pounds immediately. Like just, and it wasn't even like I was like trying to eat whatever I wanted, trying to get fat. I couldn't wrestle for a week. I was signing and I was getting lifts and stuff like that in, but just being undisciplined in my diet. And because I was disciplined to the point to where I was eating 5 meals a day. I was tracking all of my macros. I was weighing all of my food before I'd eat it. Like that's the lifestyle. That's what I was doing. So then not doing that for 5 days over Christmas break, 210 pounds, which is 26 pounds over. So when I'm disciplined, when I'm training, when I'm, normally practicing, whatever, I really won't get bigger than about 198 pounds. And then, that's fully hydrated. So, out of practice, I'll lose like 8 pounds. So I'll beat it down to 190. But the last 5, they still suck. The last 5 are always the hard 5. Getting those last 5 is always the worst. But other than that, yeah, it's definitely been a lifestyle adjustment. I've gotten off a legitimate 12 pounds of weight. Hopefully, in my mind, I think just fat, but a legitimate 12 pounds of weight that I've really pulled off my body, which it did not like. It was fighting me the whole time. But
Yeah, man, I totally get that. So, like, I mean, my senior year of high school, this was a long time ago, right? So I walked into the room at like 160, wrestled through postseason at 135. I mean, and we wrestled consistently, dual meets on Wednesday, tournaments on Saturday, Mondays and Thursdays. I was 10 pounds heavy.
yeah.
So, I mean, just making those weight pulls, I mean, that sucks. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter like how much it's water weight, whatever. I mean, just those weight pulls just suck. And, cutting weight turns into a part-time job and that kind of stuff. But so, I mean, so what would you have, like, what advice would you give to like high school kids on weight management in that aspect?
Yeah. It's funny. It's really the same thing that I said, earlier in regards to the mindset shift in wrestling. It's don't look for shortcuts. Don't make it easy. Signing, throwing on plastics to sweat off extra, like all that stuff. Like it feels easy in the moment because you can get off extra weight, but long term, like it's going to negatively affect you. So it's easier to just be disciplined, because here's the reality: you can only be tough for so long. Like you're going to get to a point to where you don't want to be tough anymore. I guess just the reality. Like toughness is one of those things that is going to fade, but discipline, you can be disciplined forever. There's guys who are 60 years old who wake up at 5 a.m. to go work out. Like discipline is one of those things that you can just embrace and be disciplined forever. So just be disciplined. Like do the hard stuff, instead of after a weigh and being like, all right, made a weigh, I'm going to freaking smash McDonald's tonight. I'm going to go get some pizza, whatever. Like, all right, made weight, right back on the grind, rehydrate back up and then eat a clean meal, steak, chicken, fish, whatever. Just eat something clean that your body can actually utilize. It's going to help you in your performance. For a high school, it's a 3.5 to 4 month season that you can focus on. Everything that you put in your body is fueling you for your performance. Ice cream is not going to fuel you. Candy bars aren't going to fuel you. Pizza and McDonald's and fast food, it's not going to fuel you. It might feel good in the moment, might make you comfortable, might make you happy, but those things, there's no benefit to them in regards to your wrestling. So yeah, it's just embracing that. You got to do the hard stuff. Once you buy in it and again commit to doing the things that are hard, it makes it way easier in regards to weight management and stuff, and you'll feel better. Your body be taken care of. Like I like, example for me, I have terrible knees. I've had multiple meniscus surgeries. I've, sprained everything you can sprain. Fortunately, no crazy tears that require like insane stuff, ACL, stuff like that. But I just have bad knees. I've had a lot of surgeries on them, stuff like that. And when I cleaned my diet up and got rid of a lot of, the inflammatory foods and the extra carbs, refined sugars, all that stuff, my knee pain like went away. I used to wake up, knees would be cracking, be aching, hurting, whatever. And I started waking up and I'm like, man, my knees feel great. I started going on runs again and stuff and like feeling good. And it's like, this is awesome. Like, the only thing it could be is my diet, because my training regimen actually increased. I was training more, but all of a sudden, like everything started feeling better. And it's just, you don't realize how much diet plays into performance and the way you feel and everything. It's crucial.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. So when I was in high school, I pretty much did the exact opposite of what you were saying. And so it's funny because now I'm walking around at like, 220. I wrestled 135 in high school. Like, and so it's one of those things that it's like, now I'm a 30-year-old adult I'm in my 30s. Right. And so now I understand what that stuff did to my body as a young man. And so it's like, I was that guy that we wrestled Wednesday and Saturday. Well, Wednesday and Saturday nights, me and the boys were at like Burger King or Taco Bell, and we were just straight getting after it. And it's the old adage of like, if you can't do the crime, then don't do the time. Well, I was fully ready to embrace the suck, put the plastics on before school, run a 5K, like dry heave in the shower, like, getting after it. I mean, the grind was the grind.
Yeah.
And I mean, like now looking back at it, it's like exactly what you were saying. Like it would have been so much easier to just be disciplined in the aspect and just, not go to Burger King on Wednesday night with the boys and like, go home, eat something that was like quality, like lean protein, resupply. And then maybe Thursday I wouldn't be 10 pounds heavy. I might be 5 pounds heavy. And then that's going to be so much less of a pull that I'm not sitting in the sauna and then swimming a couple thousand meters and then sitting in the sauna until I can't sit there and then swimming more and like getting after it. I mean, that was like, I wish, and that's something that as a coach, I try to instill in my wrestlers is like, hey, you can make smart choices and make it easier on your life, or you could just embrace the suck and get after it because of your own life choices, but you're going to regret it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but so, sure. I mean, looking at your life choices that you've made, like in recent, like, so, I mean, you dropped down from 97, went to a harder weight class. You're ranked number 6 in the country. Like, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you have some big wins. But so, I mean, and then I'm just like going over a couple, and this is tough, right? This is probably the hardest question that I'm going to ask. And so, I mean, you have some big losses too. I mean, just losses to some like big guys. I mean, you've wrestled Aaron Brooks, Carter Starachi, Parker Keckeisen. Who is the guy that is probably the hardest to wrestle?
It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be Aaron Brooks. He's kind of in a class of his own. Starachi don't get me wrong. He's a phenomenal wrestler. He's really good at wrestling, but he is a world-class winner. He knows how to win matches. That's what he's really good at. He's really good at getting his hand raised, and he'll do what he has to do to get his hand raised. So that's kind of what makes him elite and special is that he knows how to win in the biggest moments, and he, he's learned to embrace that. He's very confident, doesn't get shaken up by the moment. Like he's good. Keckeisen is a guy who's a high paced guy. He wrestles super, super hard. Obviously very talented, very good, but he's very, very hard nosed. He's truly he's just an Iowa wrestler. Super high pace, super hard, super grindy, gonna get after it, gonna wrestle, the high pace the entire 7 minutes. And that's who he is. But Aaron Brooks, he's just a different level of talent. He's a step ahead, I mean, that's just who he is. He wrestled a guy in Trent Hidley, who's a phenomenal wrestler, really, really, really good wrestler in NCAA finals, and kind of put it on him, and Trent Hidley now at the freestyle level has won several tournaments overseas. He's a guy. So, he just, like I said, I think that Brooks just kind of existed in a class of his own. And it felt like that when I wrestled him. Like very rarely do I feel in a match like, yeah, this guy's just better than me. Like I don't belong. He's just ahead of me. Everywhere he's ahead of me. He's making me kind of feel lost. Like he's freaking tough to wrestle. And that was Aaron Brooks last year. I wrestled him twice. And the first time was a little bit like outside of myself. Wasn't locked in enough, a little unfocused. Big Tens, I was locked in. I fully knew what to expect. There were no surprises. Like I knew what I was going into, and still it's like the same thing, same outcome. Like put it on me. So he's definitely special. He's really, really, really good. Definitely the hardest guy that I've wrestled at the college level.
So back to what we were talking about, nutrition, and this is my co-host just showed up. We're gonna throw him on the stage.
So, Tyler, what's up?
Tyler Knox is Silas Allred. Hey, so, and this is kind of an internal inside thing for our program in Van Cleef. Is so how we were talking about nutrition earlier, and so how would you rate just eating an entire box of Gushers to do you think that is like a beneficial like aspect of your diet?
I'm gonna hit you with something that's actually kind of funny. A huge thing that I use is gummy bears.
Okay.
So Gushers, I don't know because I don't know the kind of sugar they contain, but gummy bears they contain dextrose, and dextrose actually replenishes. It's a simple sugar, and you can replenish your muscle glycogen faster with dextrose, and your body can use dextrose faster than other forms like sucrose or fructose or any of those. So if Gushers have dextrose in them, if you read the back and it says dextrose in the ingredients, then if you're cutting and in regards to your cutting, you start cutting out carbohydrates and depleting your body of carbs, and your muscle glycogen is going to deplete because it's mainly just carbs that you store for energy. If you do that, then some Gushers post weigh-ins, are actually pretty good. They're good for you, but if they don't have dextrose in them, terrible. Don't do it.
What I'm saying is, like, so if you're on a weight cut and it's a day or two before weigh-ins, and you're just slamming an entire box of Gushers.
No, that's
like, are you pro that? Are you pro Gushers, or are you like anti-Gushers before weigh-ins?
Very, very anti-Gushers. The only time that you should supplement simple sugars or like carbs like that are if you need them right before practice. You're doing a hard cut, you need some sugar right before practice to pick me up, or immediately post practice, you can have some sugar, like I said, to replenish that muscle glycogen, and then you can utilize them as like after you weigh and you make weight. You throw in, I would do, because I had it measured out by servings. I was doing 4 servings of gummy bears post weigh-ins because it's like 85 grams of carbs, simple carbs, my body can like absorb ASAP real quick with the water I put in. Because I think it's like 3 parts of carb to 1 part water that your body can actually store as glycogen. So you have to take it with fluid, and post weigh-ins, I'm pounding fluid. So great time to throw those in. So yeah, otherwise, nah, that's stupid. That's ridiculous.
Good.
Don't do
Good.
it.
We're just gonna highlight that stupid aspect of that.
And never a full box. You never need a full box. Ever.
A full box is stupid. You heard it from Silas Allred right there.
Under no circumstances. You're gonna give yourself an insulin spike.
I mean, I guess it depends on how much they've been eating prior to, because he probably got some pretty bad diarrhea if he pounded a whole box of Gushers.
Oh yeah, for sure. GI is all messed up.
Yeah, we
used to do the honey bear back in the day. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's just not right in the head, right? And that's probably why Caden lost the state title. But I'm saying that as his coach. Really, okay, so we talked about the hardest person to wrestle. We talked about Aaron Brooks, right?
Yep.
So another alumni from Nebraska, Jordan Burroughs. Like, how often is he in the room? How often do you get to interact with him? What's that feel like? I mean, that's got to be a crazy feel.
Yeah, I mean, he's my guy. Me and JB, we have a really good relationship beyond wrestling. He's since moved to back to Philly, close to where he's from. He's from Jersey. His wife's from Pennsylvania, so they're living kind of right in between both the families. And yeah, it just made sense to them. They got 5 kids, like they want to be around their family, stuff like that. So he ended up moving back. But when he was out here, man, my wife and I, we'd go babysit for him and stuff. So really, really good relationship. He's a great guy. Once you kind of get past the starstruck, it's Jordan Burroughs, this is insane. Get past that aspect of him, you can just start to appreciate him for the fact he's just a really good human being, really good person. So that's really, I mean, the biggest thing with him, he's a really good human. So yeah, no, super, super cool. He's a great guy. Like I said, I still have a relationship with him now, and he's close with my in-laws now too. My wife's parents all got a great relationship. Like they did a road trip a couple summers ago where they actually borrowed my father-in-law and mother-in-law. They have like this big Sprinter van. That's a sleeper van. They borrowed it to do their road trip, so they didn't have to rent like a U-Car or something like that, and took it across the country and brought it back and stayed the night with them in Indiana and stuff like that for the road trip. So yeah, we're really close. Great guy. I mean, can't say enough about his dedication, his work ethic and stuff. He'll still come out here and train occasionally, especially over summer and stuff. We actually got a roll in. Me and him wrestled. It was probably a month before he competed at World Team Trials here in Omaha. Because they were here this past year. So that was really cool. Me and him got to roll around a little bit together. So yeah, great guy. Awesome.
That's I mean, that's pretty much consistently from what I hear, like just like through like other podcasts and that kind of stuff with JB just being that guy, just like a nice guy to be around. You did talk about like your in-laws. So like I wanna tailor that into so you're married, right?
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how has that changed your approach to your training, if it has, your weight cut, like that kind of stuff? Because I know, like with like when I got married, like it's got to change things. It's got to change things.
Yeah, no, for sure. So very, very faith based. I'm a very spiritual man. Faith is the top priority in my life. And it's funny, wrestling is really, really hard. And I think that if you do it only for the glory involved in it, it can be a daunting task. And it's very I want to say unsustainable, because winning, getting your hand raised, it's hard to do. And if you're not winning, then why are you wrestling? Because it's hard, so that's actually that's challenging. And for me, I have a greater purpose now, obviously faith-based, but also as a husband and trying to be a better man. Wrestling's taught me so many intangibles, so many things about myself that apply now to being a husband and hopefully eventually a father. Like there's so many things that the sport has helped me grow in areas of my life that, I probably wouldn't be the same human without it. So definitely appreciate it for that. In regards to like my, I guess, mental approach or things changing, honestly, the only thing that's changed for me is realizing that at the end of the day, wrestling is still just a sport. It's not my entire world. At one point, I thought that it was, and that leads again to a lot of heartache, a lot of down on myself, basing my identity off my wrestling performances, which is it's just not the case. I'm defined by the man of God that I am, and I'm defined by now the husband that I am. And always having a wife to come home to who loves me, who cares about me, who wants me to succeed, but ultimately just loves me for the human that I am. Like that really keeps me grounded, and I think that's a great benefit to being married is it keeps you grounded, and it helps you realize that, again, at the end of the day, wrestling's just a sport. It's something that I get to do, something that I choose, that I enjoy, that I love, but it's not who I am. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's made me more focused. I think it's helped me kind of realize that this really, really matters, and I care about it a lot, but it's not my everything.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Like, we do this because it's fun. I know, like, wrestling kind of lost its fun for me there for a little while, and I kind of walked away and didn't really have anything to do with the sport for dang near 5 to 6 years because of that. So, and I got to jump off here real quick. So I wanted to jump in and say, one, thank you so much for coming on. This is great. I don't think I'd ever in a million years thought that I'd be sitting here talking to someone of your stature. So thank you so much for this. Andy, thanks for setting it up. Andy, you're killing it and doing a great job. But so before I got to hop off, I got a busy weekend with soccer and Army drill and all sorts of stuff. But man, what are some things that you're doing to like keep wrestling fun, right? And you might have already asked this question and answered it. I don't know. But like that's a big thing for the kids in my mat room, and even like my kids playing soccer. Like you got to keep the sport fun, right? So if you've already answered it, man, don't worry about my question. But outside of your family and your faith-based stuff and your wife, like what are some things that you specifically tell yourself to keep the sport fun?
Yeah, I kind of hit on it a little bit earlier, but a big area for me is just kind of my attitude. I try to be a very grateful person. It's like at the end of the day, like I'm very lucky to be able to do what I do at the level that I do it at, So every time I walk in that Nebraska room, it's like, man, there are so many little kids who hope they get here one day. I'm so lucky. I got a bunch of teammates around me who love me. They care about me more than just as a wrestler, but as a friend. I got coaches who want to see me succeed. All they care about is seeing me obviously do well in wrestling, but then do well in life after the sport. So I'm very fortunate and lucky and grateful to have what I have. On the days that I get beat up in the room, man, it's like, this is awesome. I got I have killer wrestling partners who are getting me better, who are pushing me. You got to get beat up sometimes. This is great. Like just like that mentality behind it is, you're doing something really, really hard, but you get to do it with a bunch of people who care about you and want you to be successful, and they're trying to push you to be a better version of yourself, and you're growing and learning in it. And it's a beautiful thing. And the sport is fun for me in that aspect, because I'm doing something I know a lot of people aren't willing to do or can't do, and I get to do it at a super high level, and I get to do it with people who care about me and I care about them, and it's a blessing. And the big thing that I will say in regards to the sport of wrestling, and something that it's an analogy that I heard once in life that really has stuck with me is life is like a cup of water, and there's a bunch of dirt at the bottom of it. And every now and then, we get comfortable taking a sip from that, because that dirt's going to settle. Dirt's going to settle at the bottom. The water on top looks clean. Take a sip of it. Water tastes clean. This is great. I can do this all day. But then you're going to experience something in life that causes that cup to get shaken up, and that water gets dirty, and you get panicky. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't drink it anymore. What's going on? This is crazy, whatever. Wrestling kind of gives us small tastes of that all the time, because we're always dealing with uncertainty. We're always dealing with unknowns. We're always dealing with adversity. So you learn to embrace that and learn how to manage it and handle it. And in life, we're going to deal with that same adversity, those same difficult circumstances, no matter what they might be. And if you can approach that and learn to balance it on a small scale, where wrestling feels like life and death sometimes, but it's so small. It doesn't matter. It's insignificant. So if you can learn how to manage that and deal with that in wrestling in a safe spot, then you'll be better equipped to deal with it in life when real adversity and real hardship hits you. And, for me, just that mindset, like it makes me appreciate the sport more. Sometimes sports aren't fun. Sometimes they're hard and they're grindy and they're difficult. But if you can embrace everything else that sport's giving you beyond just fun, then you'll grow a deeper appreciation for it and hopefully learn to embrace it a little bit more, even when it's not as fun as you want it to be. So for me, it's all about mind. That's the biggest ticket for me.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling's a great sport because it gives you the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. But
Absolutely.
even when you're at the lowest of lows, you can always take away something, and you can always find the fun in it. And that's why I've always appreciated soccer, or not soccer, wrestling. Sorry, I just came from soccer.
No, you're good.
Yeah, 2 kids playing soccer, man. It's crazy. Unfortunately, wrestling takes a back seat sometimes. But but yeah, wrestling, man, like I said, it gives you the highest of highs, it gives you the lowest of lows. When you're on the highs, it's great, but when you're in lows, it's still great. You can still find the underlying meaning of what's going on, why is it happening, and you still have for some reason, wrestling, even when it was at its worst for me, it was still fun until it became kind of a job, and then I kind of fell out of love with it. But man, yeah, that's great. I love it. So
awesome.
All right,
man,
so
it was great meeting you, dude. It was great meeting you.
Yeah, great meeting you too, brother. Thank you so much again for coming on the pod, man. This is big time for us. Andy, like I said, you're killing it. I really appreciate it, man. I do got to jump off because I got to get 2 kids to bed because we got to be up at 5 to be at drill. So, yeah, I appreciate it, brother.
Awesome. Well, it was great meeting you.
You too, man.
Hey, so I think I got one more long-winded question before I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire stuff. That's going to be pretty quick.
Ready.
So what is your day-to-day routine as a Division I Big Ten wrestler?
Yeah. So, mine looks a little different than other guys just because obviously I do cut significantly more weight than other guys on the team. But day to day, we have practice pretty much every day at 8:30 a.m. We might get an off day here and there because, per NCAA rules, we're required to have one off day a week. So we'll have one off day here and there. But typically practice every day at 8:30. We lift twice a week, even during season. I'll lift occasionally, but a lot of times I'm supplementing extra cardio in those time slots because I'm trying to, again, keep weight down, manage weight, stuff like that. So I'll supplement some extra cardio and stuff in there. But really, it's I wake up at 7:30, take my dogs outside. I'll have like a cup of coffee. I drink it black, put some hair on my chest.
There you go.
I go to practice. Practice from 8:30 to about 10:30. I get showered up, and then we have something called training table, which is basically a cafeteria just for all the student athletes where they provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It opens at 11 o'clock for lunch. I get over there at around 11 post-practice, and they have always really good food options, clean options for us. So I get over there, I get some clean, good food in me, and then I get a to-go container because, like I said, I eat pretty frequently. I try to get 5 meals in a day. So I eat, then I got class. So I'll have class from on my long days, I'll have class starting at 9:30. So if I have a 9:30 class, then I'll get practice in after that class before my next one at 2 o'clock, and then I have another one at 4:30. So then I get my classes knocked out. I get in my next meal. I get home at around 5 o'clock or so, and then I'll eat again. Like I said, every 3 hours, and then hang out with the wife a little bit, eat again around 8 o'clock. And then if I got time, like I said, I'm friends with Brock, and we got another buddy named Javen. We'll like hop on the game or something, hang out, chat a little bit, and then I'll get off the game, come back in here with the wife. We'll get ready for bed and wind it down. And I try to be asleep most nights by around 11:30, so I get my 8 hours of sleep. But it's pretty consistent. My days usually start at 7:30, and my day doesn't end until about 5:30 when I get home. So pretty long days, about 10-hour days, but they're great. Love them. And then on days when I have my 2 a day, I'll get my second workout in typically after class before I get home. So then on those days, I won't get home until about 6:30 or 7.
There you go. All right. Hey, so I'm going to try to keep this as close to an hour. Like I told you that we are going to be an hour, probably going to go a little bit over. I hope that's
No worries.
okay. I apologize ahead of time to the wife. But so I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions. So the first question is, I mean, being from Shenandoah, wrestling for Shenandoah High School, how do you feel about Crown Point and Evansville Mater D?
I have no ill feelings. Again, it's wrestling is an individual sport. That's just how I feel about it. It's like, they produce good wrestlers. I think it's great for the sport. They clash. There's also Brownsburg who freaking killed it this year at our state championships. I think they're ranked like 13th in the country as a team. So I love the fact that we have really, really high quality teams who are doing really awesome stuff in the sport of wrestling in the state of Indiana. I think it's great. I have no ill feelings towards those schools. I've actually wrestled for a couple of them in like dual stuff. I've had buddies like Jesse Mendez. He's from Crown Point. We grew up wrestling on a bunch of Indiana national teams and stuff together. He's still a good friend of mine. So it's like, I mean, I have no ill feelings at all towards any of those schools. I mean, if you're producing good wrestling, keep producing good wrestling. I love it. It's great.
So that's what I like to hear. All right. Hey, so the next question is, what is your favorite shot? Like, so from the feet, what's your favorite shot?
Go-to for sure is probably my lefty sweep single. I'm right-handed. I broke my right arm when I was a junior going into my senior year and still wanted to train. So I had like an arm brace on that limited my range of motion and stuff until I got mobility back. And I would go to practice and I'd wrestle lefty. And kind of doing that, I became a lefty. Left lead leg, all that stuff felt more comfortable for me. I still can shoot from the right side, and it still feels good. But lefty lead feels better. And I've since really developed a pretty good sweep single. I time it up really well. It feels really clean, really crisp. It's definitely my go-to favorite shot is my lefty sweep.
All right. So with who's your favorite teammate? Ooh. So I'm gonna make this a two-parter. So who's your favorite teammate right now, and then who's your favorite teammate of all time?
All right. So favorite teammate right now, man, it's tough because I mean we have a very unique culture. We love each other. Like there's something about everyone on my team that I love that makes him unique. That's fun. Like Ridge. He is one of the cockiest guys you're ever gonna meet, but it's like this funny cockiness where he'll say stuff that's just stupid that he knows is wrong. But we just laugh about it because it's Rich. It's what he does. He's hilarious. Caleb is kind of like our little unified team leader at 125. He came in. Last season was his first season with us, and he just meshed perfectly with our team. And, he tries to pump everybody up. He's goofy. He's always dancing before his matches. Hilarious. Like, he's great. 33, Van D, he's our country guy. He's always coming to practice telling the stories of him hunting. And what happened, he's like, dude, you're not going to believe what happened last night. I had this coyote who ran 30 yards from me from behind. I thought I was going to die. Like, just crazy stuff. It's hilarious. man, I mean, I could go through every single guy on our team and tell you something about them that I love, that is hilarious, that makes them, special. So I don't know. It's really hard for me just to pick one person who's my favorite teammate. I live with my wife. A lot of guys, they have teammates who they live with, so that they'd say probably someone they live with because they spend every day together. But I don't have a guy who I live with. I just have all the guys who I hang out with in the room. We compete, we travel together, stuff like that. So yeah, that's tough. I don't know if I can give you one. I don't know. Now, past wrestlers, who's my favorite? I probably have to say have to do Eric Schultz, just because he was a 97-pounder before I came in and kind of filled in his role. And we wrestled together pretty much every single day. And that man is just great. It was great. I love wrestling. He got me way better. I like to think that I helped get him better. And yeah, he's still in the room training now as part of our RTC. So past wrestlers who's in the room, it's got to probably be him, just because we just spent so much time training together and built a pretty good relationship now. So yeah, probably him.
All right. Favorite tournament?
NCAAs. I mean, it's got to be. If I had to get like specific, then I would say Big Ten's my freshman year when I won. But if we're talking every single season, the best tournament, favorite tournament, got to be NCAAs. Nothing like it.
NCAAs. So all right. So the next question would be memorable moments. So what's your most memorable moment right now? And I feel like this is an obvious answer. I feel like the obvious answer here is your freshman year when you won Big Tens, right?
Yeah.
So give me like, if that's it, I mean, highlight it. If not, like, give me something else.
That was huge. That was a really big moment for me. I think if I had to pick like a moment to when I knew that I belong, that I'm good, like I can do this.
Just took a question from me.
All right, then I won't answer. I'll save that one.
No. Go ahead and elaborate. I'm just not going to ask a question. So, like, I mean, that was going to be the next question. Was when did you know that you belonged? But
yeah, so I remember it was my freshman year in Carver Hawkeye. I wrestled Jacob Warner, and I had the match. I out wrestled him. At this time, takedowns were only 2 points, so I had the only takedown of the match. He just happened to ride me out for the second period and get riding time. And it was, it's classic Iowa stall ride, double thigh pry, drove me out of bounds 8 times. And then he never got hit for stalling because it's in Carver Hawkeye, so of course he doesn't. But yeah, so that match I was right there, and I was like, I knew like I belong here. Like, I can beat this guy. He's a multiple-time All-American, whatever, but I can freaking beat this guy. Like, he's not. There's nothing is separating me from him. It's just a matter of if I can get it done when it matters. So that I would say is when I really knew that I was right there with the best guys in the country. And then this year, winning at Carver Hawkeye, that was sick, giving us a chance in the duel. We had that duel won by every right. And then obviously 97 and 285, we kind of lost it, but that was a super, super cool win. So that was probably most memorable from this year, most memorable all time, like you said, winning Big Tens. And then, yeah, I knew I really, really belonged my freshman year after that match in Iowa in that big stage. So
I mean, unfortunately for me, not unfortunately for you. So I am an Iowa guy. Don't hold it against me, right? But so I am an Iowa guy. So I was pro the Jacob Warner. You said the Iowa stall. It kind of made me laugh, right? So you did beat Gabe Arnold this season in Carver Hawkeye. So after Iowa wrestled Oklahoma State this weekend, and then you had Angelo Ferrari beat Dustin Plott. How do you feel that you would do against Angelo Ferrari?
Oh, I'd win.
I love it.
Here's the reality. He's really, really good at wrestling. He's good. But the thing is, it's like you have to. There's this balance in wrestling to where sometimes there's really bad style matchups. Dustin Plott, Angelo Ferrari, really bad style matchup. Dustin Plott let Angelo Ferrari wrestle his match. That's just it. So there has to be an incentive to force your way. And Dustin Plott didn't force his way, and he got caught up in the match. and he lost. And Carver Hawkeye is really hard to wrestle in. Like it's really, really difficult to wrestle in that arena. I mean, there's thousands of fans who are yelling at you, cussing at you, saying the worst things you could imagine. It's like, I mean, ridiculous stuff. They serve alcohol there, so everyone's a little bit tipsy, feeling themselves a little bit, having a grand old time. So they get really, really chirpy, and it can be a very hard environment to perform in.
It's definitely a hard environment to be in. Like, I mean, it's definitely beneficial for the home team there.
Absolutely. So yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I like I said, I think it just comes down to, at the end of the day, you gotta find a way to wrestle your match. So yeah, I'd love to scrap against him. It's gonna be sick. Hopefully, he's their guy 84 next year, and we can get after it.
I honestly, selfishly, I hope so too. So, and then I got one more question for you right now. So I got one more question for you. So you talked about you like your coffee black. Is that your secret to a full mustache? Because I'm 30 years old. I cannot figure out the full mustache game. I still can't grow it in right here. Is that where I'm messing up? I'm not drinking my coffee black enough, or what?
Dude, I just think it's good genetics. My dad had a great beard. I started shaving when I was in 8th grade.
Oh my God. I didn't start shaving until I was like 23.
Nah. See, in 8th grade, I had, that little peach fuzz on the upper lip, whatever. And then I also started getting like these sideburns that were growing in. So I was like, okay, I need to shave this. So I started shaving, and by the summer going into my freshman year, I was like starting to get like some thicker, pricklier hair. Like it was all growing in. Mustache was starting to grow in. So yeah, my freshman year, I was already having to, before tournament stuff, I was having to shave my face and clean it up. I got away with using an electric trimmer for a while, and then come my junior, senior year, I would use the trimmer. They'd come and fill my face and be like, "Nah, you got to shave, dude." And I'm like, "Darn it."
So are you pro the shape, the new beard rules with that have come up like the last year or so?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so much better. Like with the clean shave stuff, I hated it because I get like the worst razor bumps and ingrown hairs. Like it's just, I don't know why, but my face just does not tolerate being shaved well at all. I guess maybe I just have sensitive skin. I don't know what it is, but for some reason I can't tolerate it. So I swear by like the electric trimmer. I mean, it's saved me from so much pain, from the ingrown hairs and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think black coffee definitely helps for those young kids out there. Start making their coffee black. You don't need the creamer, I promise.
I thought it was funny because that was what led me into it. Is you were like, I drink my coffee black, put hair on my chest, and I was like, oh, coffee mustache. There we go.
Yep.
So I'm gonna wrap it up here. One more question, quick, just right off the top of your head. What favorite duel this season?
Iowa. Iowa. Biggest moment, huge moment. We were right there in every aspect. You could say we should have won it. We didn't, but yeah, that was for sure the favorite this year. I mean, we were right there. Like, we got a good team. Now that duel really showed that we got a good team. So.
No, you guys will 100% have a really good team. As an Iowa fan, I was really happy that Iowa won that duel. But Nebraska is a team to be reckoned with this season for sure. So that's what I want to wrap this up, right? We got Big Tens coming up. You are the 3 seed or the predicted 3 seed from Flo going into this. What do you think? You think you're going to beat the 3 seed, or you think you're going to match seed?
No, I love it. It gives me a chance to get a match back that I want. Minnesota, that's what I want. I mean, it's great. I love it. Plus, 1 and 2 seed, they get a bye first round. I kind of want the early match. Like, give me the freaking early match. Let me get my feet under me, get feeling good. Like, I love it. I love scrapping. So I love 3 seed. I don't pay too much attention to that stuff, and worrying about if I match the seed or I beat it or whatever, any of that stuff. Like, my goal is always to win. I'm going in there with the mindset of winning and getting my hand raised at the end of the tournament. So I want to face everybody. I want to face all the good guys. I want to scrap. So I'm excited about it.
I love that. So, and then reading one of the comments right here is kind of what I was going to say next. So, for us, right? So I coach for Van Cleve High School. It's Jackson County, one of the southernmost counties in Mississippi. So we are 3-time back-to-back state champs in the individual tournament down here. And so we started like internally referring to ourselves as so one of our assistant coaches is a big Iowa, or two of our assistant coaches are big Iowa guys. So they have Wrestletown, USA. So we've started referring to Van Cleave as Wrestletown, Mississippi. And so it's funny. Our head coach is in the comment saying, "Hey, thank you, Silas. Finish out the season right. Good luck. We'll be watching you in Wrestletown, Mississippi." I love it. I eat it up. We got it put on t-shirts. I mean, we love it. I just want to say, super stoked to watch you progress. I mean, I've been a fan of you for a while. When Brock brought that up as I was coming through the gate, I was kind of like, "Oh my God," we kind of talked about it before. So one, really stoked that you're like, he wasn't blowing smoke out of his ass.
Yeah,
two,
for once.
For once, right? So, and then two, I mean, we really appreciate you coming in. We are super stoked to have an athlete, a person of your caliber, on the podcast. We love it. We wish you nothing but success moving forward for Big Tens, NCAAs. I hope this is the season that you get over the hump. And we are really rooting for you, and we're really getting behind you down here. So you have the entire state of Mississippi. I'm speaking for the entire state of Mississippi. The entire state of Mississippi is behind Silas Allred right now going into the NCAA. So, hey, we're just really looking forward to you getting after it, and we wish you nothing but the best, man. We really appreciate you coming on. Well, so you got anything else that you want to say last minute before we end this?
Yeah. Go Big Red. Sorry, Iowa. But no, man, I appreciate you having me. It's been fun. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, so and then I'll keep you on. We'll chat it up for a couple minutes after this, and then we'll be good to go. But so we end this every podcast that we do. We end it the same way. So I'm gonna let you end it, right? And I'm gonna coach you through it, right? This is probably one of the only times that I'm gonna be able to coach a Big Ten wrestler. Hey, so every podcast that we end with a Sip Wrestling podcast, we end it with "Let's Wrestle Mississippi." So go ahead and give us your best "Let's Wrestle Mississippi."
Let's wrestle Mississippi.
There we go. Let's end it. All right. Hey, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun.